Welcome to Fresh Talks Global Vision, a humanitarian movement dedicated to opening your voice and creating a world where leaders lock arms instead of casting blame. I started this movement because I was on thyroid medicine for 20 years and I was like, there's something else that I want to do. I need to open my voice. I need to become more in alignment. So I find that these conversations and these experts that come in, I get to ask them questions that I believe that you'd want to ask, but we're also live in a couple different places, or you can add your comment if it were not live when you get to catch this. I want you to get a pen and piece of paper or a journal, and these real conversations, I want something to open up for you. I call this mindset transformation entertainment. If we can entertain your mind, there's some cohesiveness that happens with feeling really good about yourself, it helps you open up the heart. So there's a lot of cohesiveness in your vision and how you want to live your life. So today I'm partnering with you as a viewer and also our expert, Kübra Özgüvenç. And I think I said that right. I hope so. But I want to get to more about who she is so I can introduce her to you. But I really do want you to be active. I really care about you, and I care about, the journey you're on. I find that I struggle every day. And if I used to ignore it and pretend like everything was okay, and I would shrink it down, and I would think everybody was weak that wanted to talk about these deeper conversations. So I'm like, oh, pull yourself up from your own bootstraps. And I realized that I was actually beating myself up because I was doing that. I was believing that I need to do everything on my own. And when you start bringing in these conversations, you realize you're stronger in community, especially with the ones that see and hear you. So let's go here. All right. So about our guest, Kübra Özgüvenç is the founder of Unison Sacred Harmony Temple and the creator of Unison methodology. I can't wait to hear about that. She guides entrepreneurs to desire business that merge celestial intelligence with grounded strategy, helping them regulate emotional frequency, dissolve old patterns, and build aligned systems that reflect their true nature. Her work transforms business building into a process of remembering one's power, where clarity, creativity, and success flow from inner coherence. Why this conversation matters right now. This inner coherence is in this episode bridging our Fresh Talks Global Vision and also her methodology and the way that she sees in this unison space. Welcome in, Kübra. How are you today?
Hello, Rhonda. I am feeling so good to meeting you and with your audience, and can't wait to share with you more.
Yeah, and I'm just looking over here, just kind of looking at these notes, and I'm loving on this unison. I think that's a great place to start. Can you give, and I'm going to give you space here, so take a breath in and really share with what this means, because you can talk about your methodology, but I'm really focused in so we can tether everything in with what your view is on unison. I know it's probably a real strong point there to start with.
Yeah. Thank you for the space and beautiful question. And let's start what Unison is. Unison, as you mentioned, is a methodology that helps people to own their power, to see their worthiness. What does that mean? Well, everything you experience during your daily life that triggers any kind of emotion that upsets you is simply has a reason. And that reason is you disconnected from your worthiness, from your self-worth. And once you see it that way and ask yourself the question, okay, what is the disconnection? What my real self-worth, if I am connected to it, would experience that situation, and how would I experience it, and how would I feel about it? Because each time when we are disconnected from our self-worth, we say yes to situations that are less than what we are looking for, what we deserve. So Unison gives us the opportunity to answer two important questions. Why is it always happening to me? why, what's wrong with me? You know, if you have those emotional patterns in your life that is keep happening and you don't have any rational explanation and seeking for cosmic reasons, Unison says that either you consciously or unconsciously channel information from different timelines. And when you do that conscious or unconscious channelings, there is a differentiation between those two. So if you do it consciously, you're either a psychic, an artist, or a visionary, and this gives you a power to, you know, transmute the emotion so that you don't experience it as a pattern. But if you do it unconsciously, you start creating emotional patterns. Like in your business, you can have a hustle mentality, or you can keep experiencing the same, you know, down moments again and again, and feel like you can't get where you meant to be in this moment. And Unison says, instead of feeling like you're a victim and seeking for cosmic reasons, as you can't find a rational one, what you can do is owning your heroic self, because in the parallel realities, we have different versions of ourselves experiencing different lifetimes, and that some of those lifetimes, your dream versions are taking the space and they are, you know, having their best time. In some, similar to your current life, in some, there are some lower frequency ones and having more and more trouble. And in Eastern philosophies, we talk about oneness and wholeness concepts. And most of the time, people believe that, especially in the spiritual community, you as Rhonda, you are a mirror for myself to see a part of myself in you. This is great, and experiencing that, you know, oneness between you and I is priceless. Yet there is one important thing we need to pay attention to, and that is, if you can't become one within yourself first, it is not that easy or possible to become one with other beings, either living or non-living. So, you know, it is the base of shamanism, respecting other beings, either living or non-living ones. So
can I back up just a little bit here? This is all great information. And so there's some highlights, because I can feel your spiritual space. And so you're just kind of throwing these words around as if we just all understand it. But I know that whoever is here and listening, this is so cool when you start talking about timeline, lifetime, other lives, and so I love that, because that means we're talking to these people that are going to be watching. It's really about step into this spiritual space. We have an earthly experience here, but we want you to remember that there's really a bigger picture going on here. Yeah. And so then you get into, and this is where I want to ask the next question, is you're starting to talk about patterns. You're talking about oneness and wholeness. And so to discover our patterns and to do business well, let's link it with your business part also. I think that's where the bridge is. And I think you probably have even more to say there. So my question to you is, I like this pattern conversation so much, because the mind really gets us into, since we were a child and if we're talking about other lives, we're coming in and we just have these patterns that we want to recognize so we can understand our karmic experience here and be able to clear, so we can be at one with ourselves and we can be one with others. And then we're always mirroring. Like, you may think that you're a victim in a situation, and I'm kind of building the question here. You may think that you're a victim in a situation, but that reflection within somebody, that actually is a limiting belief in different things, that it's really on you. I mean, because you're learning about yourself, because that's your mirror. So can we talk more about patterns and getting into oneness and wholeness?
Mm-hmm.
Can we bridge those and give some more information on that? How you could get there from patterns to understanding your patterns to getting into more oneness to build business, that last part. And I'll guide you if there's any part that you didn't hear there. Because number one was getting into the patterns, understanding that, into wholeness, oneness, into bringing it into like a successful business, being with your business in a healthy way.
Yeah, amazing. So let's start with one sentence.
I made it easy. I know.
So your emotions are your golden compass. Your emotions are your golden compass, and they lead you to your highest potential. Actually, this is another way of saying what I said earlier. Your emotions, they become visible when you need to see where you disconnected from your self-worth. And this is what creates patterns in our lives. Most people consider that patterns are where our energy is consumed in a way that we can't really, compete with. But from Unison perspective, what we say is, if you're a business owner, if you mess up with some speaking gigs, which I did, if you mess with, with a potential client, which we all did. So you can have this kind of things in your business, and sometimes you can have them in a repeating way. Yeah. And this is not something that shows you are not successful, or you're not worthy of getting that client or making this speech, or you are not worthy of becoming more and more visible.
Yeah.
In fact, it is the opposite. You have the potential, yet at a point, you're just disconnected from that essence of yours, and your emotions are just becoming visible to show you what you're supposed to do next. And oneness concept here tells you, instead of feeling yourself as a victim, if you see that you are the hero or your lower frequency self, this is why you're channeling that emotion. Because let's think about a trauma. What makes a trauma a trauma? Why we call it a trauma? Simply, it is because we hold a lot of emotion in that experience. So if we don't release that emotions attached to the experience, it remains as a trauma. And your lower frequency version experience that trauma, it needs to release that emotion in order to turn that trauma into an experience field, so that, as we are talking about the timelines, so that those trauma can turn into an experience field and merge with your current reality, which is ultimately all of the souls are here to experience. And as we are in the Pluto Aquarius age, entrepreneurs are one of the luckiest group of people who get to solve this equation first. Because in the Pluto Aquarius era, what happens is how we are ruled as human populations, how we make money is gonna change tremendously in 10 years. And we are the very first people who is experiencing it. This is why I call us as change makers. And the change makers will face more and more patterns, more and more emotional struggles in order to break that chain. Because the thing is, money or success is not something we are trying to, manifest in this reality. They are just they're just there and they're just showing us we are going the right direction. But it is not the main goal, not the main target. Actually, money, from astrological perspective, for example, is just a representation of unconditional love at the earth realm. So especially, I'm working mostly with the entrepreneurs who are struggling making money, making regular income, because building systems in the masculine way worked for so long, but not working anymore, especially for us, for the change makers, because now we learn how to balance our feminine and masculine energies, and we know more about our Mercury point, our moon point, our Venus point, astrology, and we know about how to build systems that comes from our masculine roots, and bringing all those wisdom together to build a system that works for us. Because if we struggle around money, we can't take out that gem laying within us.
I'm so loving being in this conversation today. I so am. And I love the direction you're going with. Everything you're saying, my heart just like relaxed even more. And I just felt like this breeze of just like, I am so happy to be in your space today. The stuff you're talking about, it just feels so challenging, which is what life is about here on this earth, but so easy also. It's like, don't make money so complicated. Don't make victimhood so complicated. Don't stay in unworthiness and lack of things. Understand everything is truly energy. The byproduct is, if you want to make a lot of money, okay, but it's part of the energy. But that's not your main focus. I mean, like what you said, we're lucky as entrepreneurs. Like we're gonna fail if we just stay stuck. And you're like, okay, you can do that, but you're helping businesses, people that are running businesses, because you're like, oh yeah, well, I mean, of course I could be a money coach, but you kind of are, because you're talking about everything is energy. We just need to get you to understand, again, you have a mirror in front of you. Everything happening is where you get to level up in your frequency and living life truly the way that you want to. If you see yourself as being in a play, then play it that way. Rewrite your script. Understand that there's a lot more happening here, which is my second time saying that. And if you allow yourself to do that, you really start opening your voice and being the true, authentic you, because there is no wrong anymore. And so for you to go from me talking about just like, hashtag speaker locking arms, stop the blaming and shaming, those words are just so black and white. It's just straight up. That's what we're doing here. But it's like, well, how do you get to that? And so you're coming in and you're saying, okay, so what if we start talking about this stuff that's really truth? If you could actually open up your heart and start really seeing you and understanding what we are doing here on earth, then all is one. We're all going to be all successful, and that's what we're looking for. There is no more competition. So my question for you is, am I seeing and hearing you what you're talking about here? Am I missing anything?
Absolutely. That's what I said.
Yeah. And so you have a methodology, a Unison methodology, if I'm naming that right.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what's the name of your methodology, if I got that right? But can you share with me, because you're actually living it by just talking about it right now. But I want to hear, what's the methodology? What do you do to help people kind of get themselves up in a frequency where they can really appreciate and love on others, but first love on themselves and know there's never, even with your health, there's nothing wrong. It's just learning to get into alignment so you can release it. So can we talk about your methodology and get into what your special sauce is?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I would like to mention a little bit about what my background, so people can understand it better.
Mm-hmm.
I am a nuclear chemist originally. This is what I studied and I did researches around. Then I worked for several industries on different matter, but about chemistry. And then I had my own journey meanwhile, while all those things were happening. And my journey brought me here. And now I'm an artist, an astrologer, and coach. And I brought together, bring all those different disciplines together and melted it in a pot and serve to you, ladies and gentlemen, in a way that can change your life. So this is why Unison is a good blend of cocktail of neuroscience, energy healing, astrology, and art. And let me ask you
the last thing you said there.
What?
Yeah. Neuroscience, astrology, what was the other one?
Energy healing and art.
Oh, you said art. I'm sorry. With your accent, all I heard was art. But I was like, that's just a beautiful way to say it. Art. Okay, keep going.
Yes. So let me ask you a question. When you see an object, doesn't matter what it is, well, what do you think about this object? Anyone who is listening to us live can type it into chat, or later on they can type it into comments. But what do you think about this object? It's a pen.
Can I play with you on this so we can play it out?
Yeah, yes, please.
Because I mean, I haven't thought about it in that kind of question, but I love, like, okay, so you have an object in front of you. What do you see? If you kind of prompt me that way, I'm probably going to say it differently than maybe how I would say it, because I find that I'm growing in this area of really seeing objects. But for me, I would see that kind of like what layers it has into it, kind of what energy is it dense, coloring. I would even like have maybe even some emotion towards it. I'm starting to notice that I'm starting to get some kind of a frequency vibe on like whatever is in front of me, especially with if you put a flower in front of me, I would really be able to understand more. But if I'm just thinking in general, just to kind of see everything as energy, that's how I see that.
Yeah. There's just, let's go a little bit simple. You explained it very well. Thank you so much. But any people that we would show any object like this pen, they would either like it, dislike it. They might not even recognize that there is a pen we are showing them, and they could have focused on us. So each time when we see something, it is our emotions what is shaping our perception over that thing we are looking at.
Wow. I love it. So is this part of the methodology and the way you work things to really help people understand, like, there's emotion with everything, and then being able to understand the mirror to that? Or please go deeper.
Exactly.
I love it.
So basically, when we look into our lives, if we like it or dislike it, if we think this way or that way about our life, about an experience, about someone or something, living or non-living, it is our emotional lenses shaping that reality and how we perceive that reality. So to be able to change something in that reality, what we're supposed to do is changing our emotional lenses. And in Unison, what we do is simply allowing your emotions to flow. And when you are doing this, when you are releasing those emotions, if you can do that without triggering your nervous system, you can speed up your healing process, your reconnection process with your self-worth. So in the methodology, I choose a painting for you that I did, because I have a wide collection of paintings. Each painting is a blend of several emotions, a good blend of cocktail, let's consider it. And whatever your struggle or the point that you want to come to a solution with, we choose a painting related to that one. And you start staring at the painting with a music with alone. And sometimes we include an aromatherapy blend to that process as well. So we tap into hearing, visuals, And smells are also there for helping us. In this process, what is happening simply, you start seeing whatever you have in your emotional lenses when you stare at that painting, when you tune into it. And this gives you an opportunity to release the emotion without triggering the nervous system. Because when we are talking about our memories, aka traumas, to be able to recover from them, we actually trigger the nervous system. And when it is triggered, it is really becoming harder and harder to change and transmute that wound we are talking about. And with Unison, you do that without triggering the nervous system. And what happens is, for example, we start working with a painting, and as the client sees a certain scenario or certain images in the painting, and after a week or two, when we complete with working with this painting, and it's only 4 or 5 minutes per day that they're doing, what happens, they don't see the same images or scenarios when they look into exact the same painting, or when they listen to the exact music. This is because of the thing I mentioned earlier. What you look into is different than what I look into, even though we look into the same object or thing or person, because we hold different emotions. Our emotional lenses are different. So this is how we perceive what we look at, basically. I don't know if it has been, it is clear, but I would love to answer any questions around it if there is any gray points.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I love that you bring up nervous system too. Because like we will bounce out of a conversation or a space in our life that we could actually potentially get such great experiences from if we don't understand that part of it, that we really, if I'm understanding what you're saying, because how I perceived it is that if we get really connected and tune with ourselves, and again, understand your emotional, oh my gosh, I want to say artistry, like to notice, what you're painting with now, to be able to shift it in a way that where you start connecting that, like making sure that you're really learning about yourself and your surroundings, and you can connect that to see how calm your nervous system is. And that really gives it, or intuition, that gives you that information readily available. So, no, you just are so lovely. You are just lovely. I really appreciate what you're talking about. And what's interesting is for you to have a background all in chemistry and being able to see things, to me, it just all is logical what you're saying, because when you're looking at chemistry, you're looking at like compounds, like the way things attract and the way that things move, and that's what happens all in life. And so you're really talking science here. And if we're speaking to some of the things with your astrology and the way that you're looking at past lives, now you're talking about the whole experience of things that can be proved out, to things that perhaps you want to start really exploring. Why do we have deja vus? Why do we feel like we've known somebody for so long? We just meet them, and is it just a coincidence? Are there really coincidences? And I want to just say something. What you're talking about is learning to be in alignment and trusting your space, and knowing that whatever shows up is going to express if you are in alignment or not, because maybe you're just kind of in your head more and you don't really notice what's happening for the day. But I want to share something with you that happened this morning to me, Kübra. I was with a client before you and I got together, and a client and I were talking about something. I had to look in her book because I keep journals when I'm talking to people. And I said, well, you did this, and we needed to find that information to bring right to the experience that her and I were coaching on. And so I started flipping through the book, and I turned it and opened up to exactly the space that we needed. And I said, it is right here, Sabina. It's right here. And it was like we could enjoy it for a moment, but then we're like, oh, yeah, of course. That means we're in alignment. Like we were both saying the same thing. It's like, you know that you can be in alignment, life becomes easier, business becomes easier, making money becomes easier, relationships become easier, but the hard work is the work of understanding. It is a lot of intensity living here on earth and being able to explore everything we talked about within our time together. This is the last part here. Did I sum up and understand you? Add into this as much as you want to finish off our time. And then how can we connect with you? I have your LinkedIn link already flowing through in our YouTube area. But yeah, please share, my friend, as we exit out.
So any online platform, if you type my name and surname, Kübra Özgüvenç, it's me. There is no other Kübra Özgüvenç, so it's pretty easy. But you can connect through my website or Instagram. I'm pretty available, especially in these both of those web places. Basically, also as you say, LinkedIn, where I am quite often. And thank you for this beautiful conversation and having me here. It is a real pleasure to meet you and be here. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I feel like we're just kind of puzzling the stuff you do to what we do here in Fresh Talks Global Vision, how I live my life every day. And it sounds like you are just all in with the way that you're expressing what you do. And thank you for showing up as you. It's so lovely to be able to hear about your methodology, what Unison means to you, and how you are really bridging the gap here when you bring in all of the workings that you do. So thank you for showing up and being a part of our conversation today. I'm always thinking, how can we up level in our frequency? And I just want life to be easier.
Yeah.
Which means we step into things that are really hard, but that vulnerability in the raw space is what helps guide those easier moments. Because even in the pain, you get to take a deep breath and realize this is just a mirror. Everything's going to work out. We're going to get to the next level. Don't combat it, because if I do, then I may miss out on the opportunity, because it's going to come down harder on me the next time. So thank you. Thank you, Kübra. I want to say your name right. Özgüvenç. I really appreciate you, my friend. And we will want to connect again. I'll give you a link for another 6 months. I want to come in and have deeper conversation about your current clients and maybe some testimonials on specifically what they went through and what are the things that they're learning, so we can do hands-on more of just this. We can reference this conversation to digging in at the next layer. How's that sound?
Awesome. Can't wait.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Global Vision, I hope you are getting what you need. I hope you are like thinking about this and how does this affect your life if you really start looking at these things, specific things that were so easy to translate, but it's hard to not feel like you are a victim. That's a hard word to use, but I mean, when somebody comes at you and you're just so scared and your nervous system gets dysregulated because you just think it's their issue and they're coming at you. But if you start looking at the reflection and go, here, wait, I've been stuck on this and I'm the common denominator in all these conversations. I have an issue, which is great. Now I know what to work on, because that will bring you exactly what you want. Love you. Namaste. Appreciate this conversation. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.